Have you ever thought about drawing 2 cards because you played Pot of Greed and now you got yourself the best card that you could ever draw? Karibo, your man, the myth, the legend. I have not, because I am not Yugimoto. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of That Manga Dude. This is the reading log for January 2023. This is one of those times where I managed to read just as much as I picked up. How rare is that? Very rare. It's really awesome actually. I did manage to read 54 volumes, or I guess 53 manga and 1 comic, which I will get to when we get to it, but it's much later in the video because it's one of the last things I read in January. As you know, I tend to review as I start, so at the beginning of the month is what I start with, and then as we move on, talk about those other volumes that I read. A lot of really cool stuff, honestly. I read an entire series, which is something I don't usually do, and I managed to reread actually a few volumes, so we'll get to it when we get to it. Alright, I should stop dilly-dallying. Let's go. Let's get started. You know, this lighting is making my hands look a lot whiter than they actually are. I promise I'm a little bit darker than it looks like. Right now I look like as pale as a ghost, but I think it's just the really bright blue lighting that I'm getting from outside. Anyways, let's get started. Here is the first volume that I read, and that is Sherlock Bones Volume 3 by Yuma Ando and Yuki Sato. So, yeah, the series continues to be pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's, like, outstanding or anything. Like, is it a must-read? No. But if you do like mystery series, if you like stuff like Case Closed, I think you'll enjoy this as well. This series is, like, it shows its age at certain points, where it very much is like, oh, it's a sign of the times kind of thing. But I still like the mystery that they go. This one has like a golf mystery, which is interesting. And yeah, overall, decent volume. Can't wait to get some more. Okay, and after that, I read a big chungus of volumes from Banana Fish. This is volume 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So yeah, these volumes go through a pretty significant part of the story. We finally get like a conclusion to a feud that's going on between Ash and somebody else. If you have read the series, you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, I don't feel like spoiling it for people because I know the series, even though it's old, is getting reprints, so some people are reading it for the first time. And just to keep it nice and succinct, it is a remarkable series. The series is super awesome. The action is wonderful. If you don't know what this is, it's basically about this character named Ash Lynx, who has basically been a male escort. I can't say the other word, the P word, on YouTube because it might get, affected by the YouTube algorithm, basically by the gang. And then he ends up running his own gang and goes through like this crazy, intense, crime thriller story, I think is the best way to put it. But yeah, there's a lot of drama, a lot of like just really tender-hearted moments, and wow, I'm really excited to keep reading this. And yeah, these volumes were remarkable, lovely, fun read, but also a lot of just crazy trigger warnings. I would say look it up, like the trigger warnings for the series, because there's so many, it's kind of hard to be able to encapsulate just how many there are, but let's just say there's a lot of stuff that happens, a lot of bad stuff, but yeah, if you can muscle through it, kudos to you. If you can't, I totally understand, because this series has a lot of things that I would say would make it very difficult to read. But yeah, I've been loving it and I can't wait to read more. Alright, up next, Silver Spoons volumes 13 and 14. We are almost done with this series. I have one more volume left to read, and I'm kind of holding off because I'm savoring the experience that I've had with the series. I've been loving it so much. Hiromu Arakawa has stolen my heart once again. Full Metal Alchemist, remarkable series. Silver Spoon, also a remarkable series. Definitely gonna have to check out the rest of her work. Probably will be starting Hero Tales at some point, as well as Heroic Legend of Arslan, although I believe that series is only her art, not her story. Cannot confirm nor deny. If you do know, please let me know in the comments below. I will look at it. But yeah, these 2 volumes, wonderful, exciting. The story's really picking up. We're almost to the end. They're almost graduated. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of wild. Excited for volume 15. Alright, up next, this is the big one. This is the one that I reread some volumes and finished the entire series, and that is Mare. So I only have volume 1 here, and the only reason why is because I don't want to pull all 15 volumes and attempt to show them on the screen, because I am recording with a cell phone, and my cell phone only has so much real estate for you to be able to look at. So I'm only going to show you volume 1, but wow. Noba, Yoki, Onsai. This was a great series. I really enjoyed it. It follows the main character here, Ginta, and it's basically an isekai, where this kid's always dreaming about this fantasy world where, like, he's always doing heroic adventures, and lo and behold, suddenly he gets teleported to this other world, the exact world that he's been dreaming of all along. So it's about his adventure of trying to get back, but also trying to save the world from the chess pieces, who are, like, these big villains in this world, who created a war long ago and were defeated by the knights. And yeah, it's intense, it's fun, it's funny, the action is great. I will say towards the end of the series, I would say right around when the chess games begin, it starts to get a little bit fast, where the action kind of is so quick that sometimes I wish that, like, the fights would ruminate a little bit more. But I think I looked over it because the characters were so much fun. The art was so remarkable. There was a lot of really great, like, page turners and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just such a great series. Like, I love the spreads that they have as well. I mean, yeah, Nobuyuki Onsai pull the fast one on me. I love this series, and I really hope other people get to read it. I don't know if it's readable legally unless it's in print. So if someone knows if there is a legal digital copy, please let me know so I can leave it down in the comments below as well. Because, yeah, I think the series is definitely worth a read. But it definitely is one of those, like, I would say kind of generic in a way, but it totally is for me, I guess. Gotta love the main character. Love all of, like, the side characters. They're all really great. Okay, up next, some newer stuff. This is Night of the Living Cat Volume 2 by Hawkman and Mecha Roots, and I talked about the first volume in my reading log, I believe, in October, and yeah, this is a really fun, like, horror comedy series, I think is the best way to put it, where there's this, like, crazy disease where if you're touched by a cat, you end up becoming a cat yourself. So the threat is that everyone becomes cat, and it's, like, weirdly adorable, and, like, everybody is, like, you know, in this terrible world and stuff like that, or, you know, terrible-ish world, but there doesn't seem to be any true threat other than becoming a cat, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, death or anything. It's like, I don't know, but it's super funny. I was laughing, howling throughout a lot of this volume. And we just finished up, like, the background, I guess, of the main characters as we're following them, because in volume 1, we were actually in the middle of something, and then it sends us back as to how they got there in the first place. So this wraps that up and leads us into, I believe, what is the main story. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it was a fun volume, and I can't wait to read some more. Alright, up next, it is the chaos that is Kamen Rider Cougar, Volume 1. Yeah, I don't know how much, what else to say about this. I mean, like, this thing has been beaten to death online. Twitter has been on fire, or was on fire, throughout a lot of January. A lot of people talking about how bad the translation was, and it's funny because I didn't truly notice it until, like, people brought it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of weird, huh? So it's just something that I don't notice often, I guess, is, like, when I'm reading, if like, translation is bad or whatever, I just, like, oh man, they kind of, I guess they just kind of messed it up in terms of the editing or whatever. But yeah, overall, I thought this was fine. I talked about this a lot during my my lightning round for the FBI for January, and I thought it was fine. Like, the characters were fine. The action was cool, but not necessarily great. The art is also good, but not amazing. So if you want to pick this up, I would say give it a shot if you like Kamen Rider stuff, just to show your support. However, I will say, just keep in mind there is, like, just a whole lot of chaos going on about it, and the translation is not necessarily the best that it could be. So just keep that in mind when you're picking this up. Alright, up next, another one of those that ended up in my FBI. This is Yoki by Volume 1 by Nanaki Nanao, and it's been interesting to see people's opinions about this online. Some people have been saying they actually don't care for it too much, and I can see that because, like, it is, I would say it's very much like a typical fantasy series, but basically, if you want to get some more context, I've talked about this quite a few times now, but basically it's about this world where a demon lord has been slain, and the demons are holding a tournament in order to see who becomes the next demon king. Or Demon Lord, excuse me. I'm not sure what the differentiation is. I'm still very confused. It doesn't really explain it that well. But this human called Hulk shows up, and he is the one who is participating. Super powerful. Everyone's really confused because he's human, but he supposedly hates humans. So, yeah, why that is, we haven't figured it out yet, but this volume is kind of just like a setup for the story and the events are about to unfold. And yeah, kind of excited for it. Honestly, I thought it was a lot better than some people have made it out to be. Did enjoy it, but I do see where people were kind of like, this is like not the greatest kind of thing, because it isn't. It's a little bit predictable, I would say. Like, if you know comedy fantasy series, it kind of follows that formula of like super overpowered character does super overpowered things, and like other characters are like, wow, how did he do that? So if you don't like that, I totally get it. I do find enjoyment in it though. I think the art is actually pretty nice, and excited to see where it goes, honestly. Alright, up next, Kaiju number 8, Volume 5 by Naoya Matsumoto. Yeah, this was another great volume. This series is awesome. We could see more of like the other branches and some of the stronger characters other than like the captain that we've been seeing for a while, and obviously our main characters as well. Yeah, and we get to see a pretty super cool fight between the main character and one of the main commanders, or whatever you want to call them. Genuinely really interesting, and excited to see where this goes. I love the series. It's amazing. Okay, up next, Adam the Beginning, Volume 2 from Titan Manga and Stonebot Manga, the same publishers behind Kamen Rider Cougar. And I think this release has been a lot better. I think the series is awesome as well. I think the art is super detailed and gorgeous. I love like the kind of mix between sketchy lines, but like it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of heavy line work, and I really appreciate that a lot. It's just, I don't know, it's done really well. The writing's done really well. I've been really enjoying it, and excited to check out some more. Continuing on, we read the first volume of Dan to Dan, Volume 2 by Yukinobu Tatsu, and holy moly, I thought the Volume 1 was crazy. This Volume 2 is also insane. This series just continues to be like shocking, crazy, wild. I think is the best way to put it. Is it raunchy? Somewhat. Is it insane? Absolutely. Is the art really good? Yeah, I think so. I think the action's really nice. I don't want to show too much because I feel like there's some spoilers here for anyone who hasn't read it. I know it's a newer series, so yeah, but the art is great. I love these covers as well. That's like something that I don't comment on too often inside my reading logs, but yeah, this is a really gorgeous cover. Like, and I love this like blue color with the nice, I don't know, it's just really good. Really nice, really lovely. Been loving this series. It's very enjoyable. Check it out if you're looking for a more, I won't say mature, because I would say it's very immature, but it's on purpose. So if you're looking for an immature adult series where the comedy is pretty funny and it's very action heavy, and yeah, I think it's fun. You should go check it out. Okay, Kowloon Generic Romance, Volume 2 by Jun Miyazuki, and what? The mystery in this series continues to get crazier. I will say there was something that happens towards the end of this volume that I wasn't a big fan of. I really just don't like creepy businessmen characters. Especially in this one, there's somebody who's very specific that I just really do not like. So just keep that in mind if you are going to read the series. There is a very creepy moment that happens towards the end of this. It's very shocking, I guess, but I know what they're trying to go for, and it didn't really necessarily work for me. I think it's fine, but yeah, just keep that in mind that it is something that like a character does without consent, and I don't appreciate that. So yeah, keep that in mind. And yeah, but this continues to be an amazing series. I really do enjoy it. I know that was kind of like that made me seem like I didn't like the series or I didn't like this volume, but honestly I think this volume is really good as well. It continues that crazy story of like sci-fi and romance and slice of life and office stuff. I don't know, it's it's chaotic as well, but in a different way. It's like there's this overarching kind of problem that seems to be occurring, and we have yet to see the repercussions of that yet, but hopefully we'll get that, or we'll probably be getting that towards Volume 3 and Volume 4, but they definitely were building up some more here in Volume 2. But definitely enjoyed it, loved it a lot. Up next, another series that I talked about in my FVI. This is Under Ninja by Kengo Hanazawa. And yeah, this is just a cool series. It's very weird. It's weirder than I expected, honestly. I don't know what I expected. I thought I was going to be more of like an extremely serious, kind of like futuristic dystopian thing, and it turned out to be more of like a like realistic comedy action series. I don't even say action. I don't know what else to call it really, but it's very bizarre. It's weirdly funny. Like it's very crass, I would say. In a lot of moments you're just like, what the heck? Like, that's weird. But if you like that kind of stuff, I would say definitely give it a check out. This is pretty cool. Up next, I decided to read the first volume of Marionette Generation by Haruhiko Mikimoto, and yeah, this was an interesting read. I wasn't expecting it to be as fourth wall breaking as it was. It felt like if you took like the comedy of Ranma and then added like fourth wall breaks here and there, or characters talking to you, or commenting about how they're inside a comic, yeah. But overall, I think the art is really nice. I really enjoy like this old school, like kind of like 80s, 90s art. But I will say that the paneling is a little bit difficult for me to read. There were parts where I was like, wait, am I supposed to read like this direction, or am I supposed to read like this direction? And if you know, I don't know. I guess it might just be me. I might just be like a little goof, but yeah, I don't know. I still think this was very enjoyable. I know this is probably a really hard series to find, honestly, because it's like old. But yeah, I did enjoy it, so hopefully I can find the other volumes sometime soon. Up next, I read the next volume of Pokemon Adventures that I had, and this is volume 8, also known as the first volume of the Gold and Silver series, and yeah, I loved it. That's because I like this character on the front. He is my favorite main character, or whatever you want to call him, in terms of design. He's also from my favorite generation, which is Generation 2, so I was really, really happy to check this out, and I love his team. It's really weird, because he's got like an Aipom as like his main Pokemon, and then he ends up getting a Sunkern and Cyndaquil, as this cover shows, but yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. He was a little bit more cocky than I was expecting in terms of a Pokemon main character, but I mean, the manga has surprised me pretty significantly, I would say, in terms of just character and tone and story in general. So yeah, I liked it a lot, and I'm excited to read the next volume whenever I can find it, because they're kind of hard to find, not gonna lie. Up next, I read another one, Oshinoko. This is from FBI. I talked about this as well. This one was also extremely wild. Was not expecting all the crazy stuff that was going to happen in this, especially not the ending, or even like really the end of the first chapter was also just absolutely chaotic. So, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. If you don't know what the series is about, basically it's about this girl on the front, Ai Hoshino, who is an idol who ends up getting pregnant, and the doctor is like a huge fan of hers, and yeah, is going to help her deliver the baby, but some crazy events happen, and yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. I think that's where I'll stop it. I'll stop it right there, because I think with that premise, if you like the premise, go check it out. If you haven't read it, I would say go read a quick synopsis online. It'll probably tell you more than I said, but I think it's a minor spoiler about what happens with the first chapter if I tell you what happens later. But it's definitely unexpected. You're gonna see a lot of things, you're just gonna be like, what the hell? But overall, this was a really fun volume. I'm really excited for volume 2. Okay, up next, this is from my fiance's collection. This is Skip and Loafer Volume 6 by Misaki Takamatsu, and this might be my favorite volume yet, honestly, because this is like the Valentine's Day episode, or whatever you want to call it, Valentine's Day chapter, excuse me, which is really cute and really wholesome, but I think the standout moment for me in this specific volume is with the aunt and her friend, as they're talking about like connections and family and stuff like this, and it's just... It was so emotionally, not taxing, but like I felt so emotionally invested with the aunt now. I think her entire story is just so complicated and so kind of sad in a way, but also like there's this like beautiful just moment that they have towards the end of the chapter that I'm talking about. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I was I was crying a little inside, and I was just like, oh, like there's so many oh throughout this entire volume. But honestly, like, if you haven't checked out Skip and Loafer yet, you really should, because this series is actually pretty remarkable. I love it a lot, and I think it's accessible for a lot of people. I don't think you should be stopped by this like cute logo, this cute front cover here. If you're like turned off by that, I mean, get over it because this series is awesome. Absolutely lovely writing, and the characters continue to just be like the best group of gals you'll ever see. This is the kind of friendships that I would have wanted in high school, but you know, lo and behold, I'm not. That didn't happen, but whatever. We can dream, Harold. But definitely check it out. The series is awesome. Alright, up next, I read Volume 4 of Idle Dreams by Arina Tanemura, and... this is an interesting volume. I like the story. I don't like some of the stuff that happens. I think it's weird that she is an adult and she ends up becoming a kid and then ends up getting into a relationship with another kid because... Yeah, so I'm still on the fence about that. I'm not really sure I like the age gap thing. I do think it's good that they kind of strayed away from it eventually, but there's a lot of weird stuff that happens that I'm just like, that was extremely questionable and probably should not have happened, or I would not have written it that way. But yeah, it's not my favorite volume. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So, sorry, if I wanted to give you some context for this series, this is an Marionette Generation series where basically this lady, who is like a 30-year-old like office worker who's kind of tired of her life, meets up with an old friend who gives her like this ability to take this like drug that allows her to turn into, I think she's supposed to be 12 or 13 again. And yeah, so it's like the classic like, oh, what happens if you were, you know, you got a second chance at being a high schooler or a middle schooler. And the concept is fine. It's just that like when they get into like relationship stuff, it's like you're still 30 even if you're not like your body is not 30 anymore. So I don't know, it got a little too weird for me in this one. I'm probably gonna keep reading it just to finish it up because I think I only have 3 more volumes left. But yeah, this one definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. Alright, up next, one that did not leave a sour taste in my mouth. This is Yaki, Tate, Japan. Man, I'm going to have a hard time saying this series forever and ever. But this is Volume 1, and this is by Takashi Hashiguchi, and this is a great series. This is a wonderful series. I wanted no one talk about this. Anyways, basically, it's about this kid who lives in kind of like the boonies of Japan, and he ends up going to a baker, and the baker is like, I want to be able to create a bread that is the national bread of Japan, because Japan is not known for making bread, or at least at this time or whatever. In this world, Japan is more known for rice. Man, I'm having a hard time. My mouth is all tongue-tied. Idle Dreams got me all pissed off, so I'm having a hard time talking about this series that I actually really enjoyed. But basically, yeah, so he meets this baker who's trying to create the national bread of Japan, and the guy ends up, the chef or baker ends up going away, and he becomes like the new heir or whatever you want to call him to create the national bread of Japan. He's not technical at all, doesn't really know like the technical words or whatever. He just goes by intuition. So very much along the lines of like Food Wars. I would say the only difference is that like with Food Wars, Soma grows up with his dad, who is like, you know, a chef, so that's like where the difference lies, where this guy is kind of like homegrown talent, learns kind of by himself in a way, but yeah. It's weird, it's goofy, it's very fun, the characters are interesting and neat, so excited to go and check out more, honestly. I liked it a lot. Alright. And the last one for this section, this is Honey Lemon Soda, Volume 1 by Mayu Murata. I talked about this one as well in my FVI, but yeah, this was a really lovely first volume of like a romance school romance, kind of like coming of age story. Really enjoyed it. Basically focuses on this girl here, who is like really shy and gets bullied a lot for being quiet during her junior high years. But when she gets to high school, she like wants to change and become better because of this guy on the right. And yeah, overall, I think it was just enjoyable. I really liked it a lot. It was one of my favorites from January, and really excited to read more of it. Alrighty, up next, we got ourselves the first volume of Flame of Recca by Noba Onsai. Yeah, so as you can see, I clearly was like on a Noba Onsai kick after reading all of Mare. And yeah, really happy I read this because this was also really cool. Definitely the art style was older. You could tell that Onsai was very much in the like style of the 90s. He starts to come to his own in Mare, and Probably will towards the end of Flame of Recca. But regardless, I think the art is still really good. The action's really awesome. The main character is very likable. I like his ability as well, where like he kind of has like hot hands. But yeah, really excited to see where this goes. This is awesome. This is a pretty cool action series. And I don't know how hard it is to collect, but I guess we'll see. Alright, up next. Okay, so this is the last volume of Lost Lad London. This is volume 3 by Shima Shinya. And yeah, this was a really, really nice ending to an absolutely remarkable series. Did I see it coming? I don't know. Maybe I was lost in the sauce or whatever you want to call it, but like, I think the resolutions for all the characters is really nice, including the main villain as well. But I really like everything about the series. I've talked about it so much at this point. It's like beating a dead horse, and maybe I'll do at like some point I'll reread the series and I'll do like kind of like a full retrospective or whatever you want to call it, or maybe like a full review about this series. But yeah, it's so hard to encapsulate just how much I love this series. There's so many things that made it work so well for me, including but not limited to the characters, the setting, the ideas, the mystery, the certain action sequence, the art, the backgrounds. It's just like everything. It hits everything that I'm looking for in a piece of media, and I think it's done it so well. That I'm really happy that this was brought to English, and I'm really hoping that at some point we do get more Shima Shinya works, because I love their work so much, and would be awesome to get more, honestly. But yeah, if you want yourself a really cool, interesting mystery series that has like a really nice, like kind of like buddy cop, you want to call it, I guess, but like team, definitely check this out. I think it's pretty thought-provoking as well, so yeah, just give it a shot. I think it's amazing, and one of my favorite series that I read over the past 3 or 4 years. Yeah, go check it out. Alright, up next, I read the next volume of Hell's Paradise, Jigokuraku by Yuji Haku. So, man, I am so slow about reading these, but this volume, also remarkable, and oh man, there was a character death that happened to this one that really hit bad. I was like, dang. It just shows you like that a lot of the characters are able to die, I guess, because like I would say with really popular series, characters will die, or whatever you want to call them. We'll get like the classic like Sephiroth introduction where like it looks like, oh my gosh, Mario got stabbed. Just kidding, got him by the collar or whatever. So definitely a lot like that for some series. A lot of like, I'd say popular series, with whether or not that's, you know, good to say or whatever, I don't care. But this series, characters are mortal, which is great. I actually do appreciate that, because there is like stakes that are like had in this volume, and really sad that it happened, but continues to be amazing. The action is absolutely lovely as usual. Characters are amazing. The backgrounds are gorgeous and just well thought out and built out, and like really excited to see where the story goes, honestly, because like, yeah, like I said, we lost a very important character, and well, I guess onwards to volume 9. Alright, up next, I read a short story collection called All My Darling Daughters by Fumi Yoshinaga. I do believe this is the mangaka behind it. Oku, or I don't know how to pronounce it, the Inner Chambers. But yeah, this was a really awesome like short story collection featuring this lady who has a daughter who still lives with her, and she's like 30, I believe, but the mom's getting remarried to a really young man, and it's about like our main character, who's here on the cover, who is like the daughter, coping with that and trying to figure out how her relationship with her mother is going to be now, after she is in this relationship with a younger man and all this stuff. But basically every short story, it follows the same set of characters, but it's always like based off of different people within this world, that usually revolve around either the mom or the daughter. And some of the stories are not my favorite. Didn't really care for the teacher one, if you know what I'm talking about. But I do think that the last story and the first story are remarkable pieces of fiction. So well written, and like really hits home, I guess. It's just like you can glean so much from the characters just from reading this, and honestly, I really enjoyed it. And there is one of these stories that just goes like, just has the weirdest ending, but makes sense within the context of the story. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think it's makes sense within this like context? Yes, I do. So yeah, give it a shot if you're looking for like just a really cool short story collection about a mom and her daughter. Definitely worth a check out. All right, up next, I read the second volume, not the first. I read the first volume a while ago. This is the second volume of Blue Box by Koji, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Honestly, I think like I enjoyed it more than the first volume. I'm really glad that we're seeing some progression for some of the characters, especially like especially with our main character and between his love interest, who's this girl on the left. Yeah, overall, I'm just really enjoying it. I think like the emotional impact is better, like the action is getting a lot better in my opinion. We're gonna see some really cool stuff, and really excited to see where it goes. Alright, up next, this is one of the ones that I put in my YouTube short. I almost said reel, but that's like Instagram or TikTok. No, I don't know. Whichever one of those. Basically, this was one of my anticipated releases / reads for January. And yeah, this is Love the Answer by Uta Isaki. So basically follows this girl here on the front who is trying to figure out how she feels about romance and love and her sexuality and all this kind of stuff, because she feels left out because everybody's like, oh yeah, like, you know, if you like a guy, you should kiss him, or like, oh, what do you mean you don't fall in love with like guys, like you must be gay and stuff like that. So she takes a lot of like things to heart and is trying to figure out her sexuality and her relationship with romance and with sex. So definitely wasn't what I was expecting, but I think it was very, very well written. I think it tackles topics that I have never really thought about, or like or at least it changed my perception of asexuality and aromanticism and all that stuff. Because I never truly understood it. I've always been on like the fence of like, I don't really get it. And I don't really know that many people who are aromantic or asexual. So this was really enlightening, and it helped me to put into perspective how these people feel, how they like understand or try to figure out their feelings for romance or their feelings for sex and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're looking for like just a very informative volume or like one volume series that tackles a lot of interesting topics, I would say give it a shot. It's pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed it. Alright, up next, Mashal, Volume 10, and yeah, I've talked about the series a lot in all my reading logs, and it continues to be pretty cool. Very funny, doesn't need to be as funny as it is. This one actually made me laugh quite a bit, but love the action in this one. I think it had a really cool battle between these two characters here in the front. Yeah, really excited to see where it goes. Can't wait. Alright, up next, Blue Period Volume 12 by Tsubasa Yamaguchi. And, I mean, do I really need to talk about Blue Period anymore? Yes. So, Blue Period Volume 12, this one really, like, hits home the imposter syndrome and, like, is school really, like, for me? Because, you know, a lot of people struggle with that. Like, do I really need to go to college? Especially with, like, my generation. I'm a millennial, if you didn't know. And like I believe the generation before and our parents and stuff like that, so boomers and Gen X, really pushed for like, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. That's the only way you'll get a job. That's the only thing you'll whatever. And yeah, so it tackles that like that thought process of like, do I really need to go to school to like become what I want to be? And yeah, it's very deep. Makes you think a lot, like I always say. Especially like the past 3-4 volumes, like really tackle stuff that I just like. That's me! But yeah, this guy on the front, don't like him, just as a heads up. That's besides the point. But yeah, continues to be amazing. Love this series. Can't wait for more. Alright, up next, I read the first volume of Shrine of the Morning Mist by Hiroki Ugawa. And yeah, this was an interesting series. Basically follows like this dude who has like the ability to see, or like is like affected by demons from what we could tell. And yeah, he's supposed to be like the prophesized something or other. And it's weird, it's goofy, it feels more of like a slice of life series than it is like an action series or whatever you want to call it. But it's enjoyable. I had fun with it. I think there's like actually some really cool art stuff that happens. Like there's a lot of like really well rendered and just like interesting art. across the board. Probably gonna pick up the next couple volumes because I thought it was enjoyable. Alright, up next. Absolute Chaos, the volume. So this is Black Lagoon Volume 1 by Rei Hiroe. I picked up the first volume 2 months ago, or last month, or whatever. It wasn't in January, but oh my goodness. I knew people always talked about this and said it was like an absolutely crazy series, but I wasn't expecting this. This was like absolutely ridiculous. Like, you think Dan is crazy? This is like absolutely insane. This is exactly what you'd expect every like American action movie to be like, where just like there's guns everywhere, there's explosions and people cursing and people doing random flips and doing dumb stuff with guns. It's like just absolutely chaotic, and I loved it. I was completely sucked in. It was super fun. If you don't know about the series, basically it's about like this like mercenary group, or whatever you want to call them, known as the Black Lagoon, and they go and just do stuff. They do a variety of things, whether it's like transporting a hostage, or like transporting intel, bringing over like ammo and stuff like that. Yeah, they basically just do whatever they want, and it's it is super crazy. It's super fun. I don't know what the overarching story is going to be, or if it's going to continue to be episodic. Either way, I really loved it, and I can't wait to get the next volume. Alright, up next, I read Smoke Parade Volume 4 by Jinsei Kataoka and Kazuma Kondo. Yeah, another one of those ones where it's just like, whoa, that's also kind of crazy. But basically the story follows like this like guy who loses his sister, loses his family first, but then loses his sister to like these like demon-looking things that transform. They're called like, I don't remember what they're exactly called, but like, not jackalopes, but spiders. She turns, spoiler alert, she turns into like this like monster thing, and then ends up becoming a spider, which are like these like super powerful beings that are fighting against the jackalopes, which are what the main character ends up joining. They get these like crazy like mechanical like pieces of work done onto them that allows them to get these like crazy powers. So overall, crazy series. This volume this volume ended definitely not how I was expecting, and excited to see where this goes, because it definitely ends really crazy. And I was like, kind of, how else do I put it? My mouth was kind of on the floor, because I was just like, whoa, what? If you know, then you know. If you don't, I'm not gonna spoil it. So give this a shot. If you like Dead Man Wonderland, it's the same manga behind that, so yeah, give it a shot. Alright, up next, I read Golden Kamui Volume 3 by Satoru Noda. So yeah, Golden Kamui, great, wonderful, lovely. I don't know why I'm so behind on it. But this one also continues to be an absolute just like crazy volume and a crazy series. But I love the art so much. I love the action a lot. Like, I love how we keep getting like this like crazy cast of characters that seem to just like weave themselves into each other's lives. And Asurpa continues to be absolutely wonderful and lovely. So yeah, could we keep getting more Asurpa, because she's awesome. And yeah, it's super crazy, super wild. I would say definitely give it a shot. Alright, up next, I read the next volume of Hoshin Engi. This is volume 8 by Ryu Fujisaki. And yeah, this one was cool. I mean, I opened it. If you didn't know, I had this volume was wrapped, like originally wrapped, because it still has a sticker in it. So yeah, that means this volume has not been opened for, I believe it was 15 years is what I looked up. I think this was a 2008 release. So that's kind of crazy, but cool to have it, cool to check out. Hoshin Engi continues to be a very underrated series for me. I think it's super funny and super awesome. The action's great. The art is really good. The story is it's very complicated, but it is very interesting if you're willing to put the time in to like kind of remember everybody. But love it a lot. This volume was also really cool. We get this like new spy character who's this girl on the back who's kind of a goof, but I do love her. And yeah, we get to finish up like the fights that were going on in volume 7. So really excited to see where the war goes. And yeah, I guess we'll be getting into that in the next volume. Alright, so this was the comic that I was talking about. So this comic was crazy, very thought-provoking, and just an absolutely beautiful read. This is The Many Deaths of Layla Starr by Ram V and Felipe Andrade. So I actually got this as a Christmas present for my boy Josh. Thank you, Josh. Really appreciate it. And this was beautiful. It's so gorgeous. The art is lovely, so beautiful. But basically, it follows the story of the god of death, who basically loses her job because they don't need her job anymore. Because at the time when she loses her job, they come to find out there is a person who is being born who's going to discover immortality. And if no one's dying, they don't need a god of death anymore. So she basically is like gets relegated to Earth to become a human and live life as a human. And she's like, well, that's BS. So I'm gonna go and try to stop this kid from creating immortality. So she gets reincarnated to this character named Layla Star. This girl on the front, and it's about her character learning life. What is life as a human? Like, what is death to them? And being able to talk to a variety of spirits and animals and stuff like that. She comes to learn just things about people, about life, like I said, of being human, having emotions, having feelings, and it's just, yeah, it was beautiful. It's so thought-provoking. The art is so gorgeous. Like, look at this. This is so absolutely beautiful. It's definitely worth a shot, I would say. Give it a shot. It's gorgeous. And the writing is so beautiful, and it's done so well. It's not preachy at all. You'd be surprised. At least it did not feel preachy to me. It felt so perfectly intertwined with the writing and the plot that it ended up just working out. So yeah, absolutely lovely read, and I'm super happy, and I'm really excited to maybe check out the rest of their works, see where they go, because this was beautiful, remarkable, lovely, so awesome. And last but not least, the last volume that I read in January 2023 is Infinity Force Volume 1 by Ukyo Kodachi and Tatsuma Ejiri. So, yeah, this was a weird one. So basically, it's about this main girl here who gets caught up in a hostage situation and then has like this pencil, and she like basically wishes for a superhero to save her. And it brings about these superheroes from a variety of different works. I believe it's supposed to be like Gotcha Man and all of those worlds. But it's cool. It's fun. It's weirdly funny at some points. I do think that the story is not necessarily too interesting, but I am excited to see where it goes. It's really cool, I guess, to see like all of these like characters from the Gotcha Man universe or whatever that universe is called, Tatsunoko, excuse me. So it's really exciting to see where they go, and it's my, I would say, first foray. My first foray truly in Tatsunoko stuff is Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, that really cool Wii fighting game. But yeah, this is a nice alternative as well. But yeah, good first volume, but not amazing. I think it's pretty cool. It scratches that itch for a superhero series that I was looking for. And that's gonna be it for this issue. This issue, holy moly, this video. For the reading log of January. Man, I'm just like, I'm bumbling my words right now. I've been recording for 18 minutes straight on this one, so I really need to cut this video. Oh my gosh, holy moly. Okay, what did you read in January 2023? Let me know in the comments below. And you know what to do. You can like, you can subscribe, and you can comment as well. I totally did that out of order. Man, I am very much delusional right now. Anyways, do all those things. You're amazing. You're lovely. Have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah, I don't usually say that, but you know, you should have a wonderful day. And if you decide to not have any of those things, thank you for watching the 40 minutes of me rambling and talking about manga and one comic. Because I really appreciate it. You all are cool. Anyways, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.